Namaste, blessings, beautiful friends. Now I invite you to have a cushion or a bolster or block to sit on, but we're going to begin, or you are going to begin, in a Shavasana. So lying down on your back, either knees bent, feet flat, or you can stretch your legs out, stretch your arms out, palms facing upwards. If your head feels like it's tilting back, then pop a cushion or a folded up blanket or something underneath your head. So your head should feel like it's in line with your spine wherever you're lying on the floor. And some people, they can't lie flat, their head feels like that, and that's not a criticism, that's just how we are. So in that case, maybe just a folded up towel or something underneath your head. So if your legs are out straight, have them a little bit wider than hip width, and arms away from the body, and soften or close the eyes. Now we're going to do a little somatic yoga practice today. Now I realise that I've been teaching somatic yoga for quite some years, because somatic yoga is really about being in your body, really listening to your body and learning what feels right for you today. So what might feel good yesterday or might feel good tomorrow could be completely different things. It's about being really present, because yoga, really, the yoga practices are about bringing us to a state, or back to, I should say, a state of peace, of harmony, of calm, of stillness in mind and body. And so many people nowadays, especially more than ever, we struggle with stillness. We struggle to just be still. You know, there's so many things distracting us that, you know, you see people walking on the street, they're on their phones. You know, people cannot, we've been addicted to busyness. We've got addicted to busyness. And so many of us are running from a state of low-level stress. And because it's our normal, we don't realise that that's what's happening. You know, we're in a constant state of fight or flight, or in need of, as I say, in need of stimulation. We cannot stand being quiet. And because we're overly stimulated, that makes it twice as hard for our mind to slow down, which is why so many people struggle with sleep nowadays. There are so many different factors, but that is one of them. And so we're in a hyped up state the whole time. You know, we're busy, we're trying to do stuff, our mind is constantly busy, and because our mind won't slow down, won't shut up, we try and give it something to be distracted, a bit like when a child is playing up, and I use, inverted commas, when a child, needs attention, we give it something to distract it. You know, we're constantly trying to distract ourselves, when really we want to be getting rid of, stripping away all the nonsense, stripping away the distractions, and coming back to a place of stillness, which can take practice, especially if we've been in this kind of hyped up, go, go, go state. There's so many people nowadays say, oh, I think I have ADHD, and I think I have this, I think I have that. You know, we want to put labels on the fact that some of us are just stressed. You know, we try and do so much, we try and fit so much into our lives, you know, we're comparing ourselves with others, and it's just, everything just feels so overwhelming. And I personally have felt that as well, especially over the last 5 years, you know, days where I think, oh my God, it's too much, I can't cope, it's just too much. So it's really about being in our body, because we spend so much time in our head, being in our body, not doing, being in our body, listening to our body, not trying to achieve a perfect pose or anything like that, just simply moving, being, breathing, and ultimately finding that silence. Now you may, as we begin, because sometimes we begin standing up, sometimes, we begin in different positions, you may appreciate starting in Shavasana. There may be other days where you'll be lying there thinking, oh my God, when's she going to get going? And those are the days probably when we need it the most. So just see if you can observe. See if you can observe. There's a film that I always think of, it's called Being John Malkovich. I don't remember seeing the whole thing, but I remember there were like people in this guy's head and they were controlling him. So they were looking out of his eyes and seeing, and they were controlling his movements, etc. I want you to imagine that you are just observing. You're not controlling the body, you're just observing. So you're observing how it feels lying on the floor right now. So you may be observing that you feel a bit fidgety, you may be observing that you've got the urge to move, or to scratch, or to rub your eyes, or to, judge things, to judge how long we're going to be here, or to, judge a noise outside as distracting, all those kind of thoughts. So don't make yourself wrong for that. Just notice. Notice the judgments, because we're always judging. We're judging whether we're too hot, too cold, whether it's too easy, too hard, whether it's boring or interesting or blah, 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 constantly, constantly, constantly. And part of that is our survival mechanism. We need to be judging our environment and the people we meet. But we need to try, and I'm working on this myself, to just let things be as they are. Let things be as they are. So if you feel fidgety, just let yourself feel fidgety. Observe that. Smile at it. Smile at the fact you're thinking, oh my God, I want to get going. Just smile at that. Allow those thoughts to come and go without trying to get into an argument with yourself. And also notice how it feels when, instead of trying to stop yourself from thinking, you just observe. Like listening to a radio or watching words on a screen. Just imagine observing those thoughts and think, how interesting, I'm feeling fidgety, or how interesting, I'm getting bored, or how interesting, I'm wondering when the class is going to start. We started 5 minutes ago because practicing being still and not knowing what's coming up is kind of important, because we can't always control life, right? So just being. So I also want you to notice your whole body resting on the floor. Notice the areas of the body in contact with the floor. So without changing anything, without moving anything, without doing anything, just simply noticing the areas of the body in contact with the floor. So for example, if your knees are bent and your feet are flat, notice the areas of your feet that are in contact with the floor. So you'll notice that there are some areas in contact with the floor and some spaces where it's not in contact with the floor. Notice if one side feels different to the other. If your legs are out straight, notice your heels, or maybe your calf muscles, the backs of your thighs, in contact with the floor. And also noticing the spaces, maybe just around your ankle, and just at the back of your knee, or along the back of your thigh, where there is a gap between your body and the floor. Yeah, it's not about changing anything or moving anything, it's just about observing. If your legs are stretched out, is one foot turned out slightly more than the other, for example? Does one leg feel longer than the other? Does one leg feel more relaxed than the other? When we start kind of observing, our mind naturally slows down, because we're taking our attention, our awareness, our energy away from our thoughts, from that constant, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I'm bored, I need to feel, blah, 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 and taking it into our body. So noticing the weight of your legs. Where in your lower body feels the most relaxed right now? Because often when we think, I feel tight, I feel tense, I feel this, that, and the other, focus on what you do want. So notice where in your lower body feels most relaxed. And it might be a tiny bit, and that's okay. Or you might notice as you think that your lower body relaxes a little bit more. And just be really curious. Maybe see if you can get a sense of the blood flowing through your lower body. And as you do that, you might feel very subtle pulsations in the tips of your toes, or even a subtle sense. And sometimes we think, I'm just imagining it, I'm just making it up. But maybe even a subtle sense of the blood as it flows. Think of we have miles and miles and miles, literally, of veins, arteries, capillaries. Hundreds, thousands of miles if we stretch them out end to end. And you may get a sense of the blood as it flows around your body. You may get a sense of energy as it's flowing around your body. And you may experience that as a kind of tingling sensation, as pulsations or warmth or some other sensation. Sometimes you can't put the sensation into words, and that's okay too. So get a sense of that life force, that spark that makes you alive. As you're doing that, notice your pelvis as it relaxes down into the floor. Notice your right hip your left hip. And imagine your inner organs resting in the bowl of your pelvis. Because you're lying flat, imagine those organs, gravity drawing them down towards the floor. So our inner organs are all muscles, and so they can relax the same as any other muscle. Maybe get a sense of your inner organs, get a feel of what's inside. Again, sometimes we think, oh, I'm just making it up, I can't possibly feel X, Y, Z. But whatever you think you're making up is true for you. So you may get a sense of your kidneys, your liver, your bladder, your womb. You may get a sense of your stomach, your intestines. And imagine them relaxing down towards the floor. And as you breathe ever more deeply, you may notice a very subtle movement in your pelvis. Because that movement, our pelvis does have some movement, especially for women, because it's designed to expand a little bit for childbirth. So you may notice as you breathe deeply, a very subtle opening. So your hip bones seem to move apart very slightly. Again, it's very subtle. It's not about forcing anything to happen. It's just about noticing. As you breathe ever more deeply, you may notice your belly expanding on the in-breath. And as you breathe all the way out, super slow, long breath out, you may feel your belly button drawing in towards your spine. So you're very gently massaging your inner organs. Get a sense of your spine, all 26 vertebrae. And follow the spine in your imagination. Imagine from the tailbone, the small little bones in your tailbone, and follow the natural curves, almost like a kind of gentle roller coaster, as it flows up all the way to the base of your skull. And feel, sense, or imagine space between each vertebrae. As you breathe in, feel, sense, or imagine your spine lengthening slightly or a lot. And as you breathe out, the whole spine melting down towards the floor. Noticing your shoulders. So does it feel like there's more pressure in your right shoulder or your left shoulder? Or are you relaxing both equally? Feeling the back of your head melt down into the floor. Relax your jaw and bring a very subtle smile to your face, and notice how that relaxes your whole face. Quite often we don't realize we're holding tension in our face until we release it. And to release our jaw even more, we're going to do 3 of our best horse impressions. So we're going to blow through the lips. So take a deep breath in through the nose, blow through the lips, and feel the whole face relax again. Breathe in. Once more, deep breath in, belly, ribcage expand. Release. And just gently turning the head side to side as if you're shaking your head no. Again, go gently, no rush, no hurry. Just starting to warm up into your neck and also down into your spine. So as you move your head, you're starting to stretch down into your spine as well. And coming back, then we're going to stretch the arms overhead, stretch the legs out, and really explore some movement here. And you're reaching right side, reaching left side, so stretching through your left arm, left foot, and switching, so you're relaxing one side of the body and contracting the other, stretching out the side waist, Maybe flexing and pointing the feet. Again, let your body decide what it wants to do. Maybe almost like that, having a little dance on your back, circling out the wrists. Maybe is it taking the arms slightly to the side. Again, there's no rights or wrongs. You're relaxing your jaw. Deep breaths in and out. Inhale, stretch out the arms and legs. Exhale, draw the right knee in. Circle the arms around and in, hugging that knee in. Inhale, stretch out. Exhale, drawing the left knee in. And if you can, once you know what you're kind of doing, soften or close your eyes. If you don't want to close the eyes completely, focus on the tip of the nose. Just so again you can really feel into it rather than worrying about what shape you're making. So it doesn't matter if your variation looks different to mine. This time, try to imagine bringing the knee kind of to the side body. So maybe bend the elbows if you're doing like cactus arms and bringing the knee, also if you're trying to bring it up towards your elbow. And stretching out, and exhale, imagine drawing the other knee up. And loosening up into your hips and inner thighs. Again, focus on how it feels rather than what shape you're making. That's why I encourage you to close your eyes, and that way we're not kind of worrying so much about what shape. We're just going to open out the side of the body. Maybe even just bring that one elbow to the knee and stretching out the other side of the body. So if you were standing, you'd be doing kind of like a side knee raise. So notice how that feels. Stretching out the side body. Or maybe you want to do a completely different kind of variation. And this time it's about bringing both knees in, hug the knees in, gently compress your mid-back. Tailbone lifts off the floor slightly. Inhale, stretch out the arms and legs. Maybe even arch the upper body off the floor a little bit, giving a little mini back bend. And exhale, hugging the knees in, compressing that upper back. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, hug the knees in. This time we do like a little starfish. You're going to extend the arms and legs to the corners of the room with a sense of expansion. If that doesn't feel good for you, then stay with the first variation. Exhale, hug those knees in. Inhale, expand. This time, if it feels good to do so, draw your belly button in, and as you hug the knees in, bring your nose to the knees. Really make yourself small. Inhale, a sense of expansion. Exhale, a sense of contraction. One more like that. Inhale, expand. Exhale, hug the knees in. And relax the head down. Have a hand on each knee and try and relax the legs as much as possible. And just kind of like wiggle, jiggle the legs around. Maybe take them out, let them actually kind of shake them around. And let the legs be nice and relaxed. Nice deep breath. Do what feels good for you. So maybe you want to circle the knees around. Either both in the same direction or like two half circles. Changing direction. Yeah, whatever feels good. Maybe you want to try circling the lower legs around. Again, really explore. Find out what your body wants and what feels good. You might try something that doesn't feel good. You're like, okay, that doesn't work. And you might find something and think, oh, actually, that feels really good. Sometimes I'll see people do stuff in class. It's like, oh, that looks good. I'll try that. Shake out the legs. Then bring the arms down beside you. And imagine you're trying to touch the fingertips together. and just extend the legs up to the ceiling and try and find a point where they kind of like just hang there without too much effort. And you might kind of like sway a little bit, and you can even deliberately make the movement a little bit bigger if it feels good, or you can just literally stay there, maybe a little sway side to side. Again, there's no hard and fast rules, okay? It really is about what feels good for you. And I appreciate some positions can make you feel a little bit vulnerable, and if that's the case, then don't do them. Change it to what feels good for you. And give them a shake. Check out the feet, check out the calves. You get to keep the breath flowing, nice deep breaths in and out. Circle out the feet if that feels good. And around the other way. And you go look at shake out and land the feet down to the floor. Take the arms up, shake out the hands, shake out the arms and elbows. Then bring the hands down. Try and bring your feet as close to your fingertips as possible. Palms down. Press the palms, or the whole hand, fingers, wrists into the floor. Elbows, shoulders. Inhale, slide the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, slide them down. Get a sense of your spine. Spread out your toes. You're going to inhale, tuck your tailbone under so your bum lifts off the floor slightly, but really pulling the belly button in, pressing the rest of the spine into the floor. And exhale, relax back to neutral. Then inhale, tilt the pelvis forwards as if you're bringing your hip bones towards your thighs. So a gap appears under your lower back. And inhale, relax back to neutral. So tuck the tailbone under. So again, bum lifts off the floor. Really pull the belly button in. Pause for a second. Lengthening your spine. Inhale, neutral. Tilt the other way. Just do that a couple of times. So loosening the lower back. And as you tuck under, try and really focus on scooping the belly button in towards the spine, rather than pressing too much into the feet to start with. Come back to center. Again, just imagine moving your pelvis a little bit, maybe swinging it side to side as if your tailbone is like a pendulum. Imagine swinging it right to left, left to right. Stretching out the sideways, loosening up your lower back. And maybe drawing an imaginary circle with your tailbone, literally as if you're got a pencil on your tailbone, and around the other way. And then find your way back. Again, make sure the feet are about hip width apart. Going to inhale, start to peel your body off the mat, come into a bridge pose. Lift your hips, lift your heart, press your arms and shoulders down into the floor. And exhale, roll down, press down through the shoulders, press down into the back ribs, press down into the waist, tailbone last. Inhaling as we roll up, lifting and opening the front of the body, exhaling as we roll down. And kind of get an image of like a wave-like motion. So on the way up, we lead from the tailbone, rippling all the way to the base of the skull. As we come down, we roll back down. We start from the top of the body, rolling down as if you're kind of massaging the spine on the way down. Inhaling up, and go slow if you wish. Exhaling as we come down. If you wish, you can add some arms. Inhale, reach the arms overhead, stretch and open. Exhale, roll back down, bringing the arms back down. Breathing in. That in breath, lift you up. Breathing out. Rolling back down. Just one more like that. Big breath in. And exhale all the way out. Draw your knees in towards your chest. Inhale, exhale, try bring your nose to your knee and see if you can rock and roll along your spine. Obviously, if there's any discomfort, don't do it. You've got to make sure that you've got plenty of padding, plenty of mat underneath. And once you've got plenty of padding, it does look quite nice on your back. Then we're going to come up to sitting. And come into a sitting position. So grab your mat, block, or come onto a chair. And you can pop some cushions underneath your knees or block. So if your knees are kind of up here somewhere, having a block or cushion underneath to allow your knees to relax will allow your hips to relax. Because sometimes we think we're relaxed, but we're not actually relaxed. So if your knees are a million miles away from the wall, not a million miles, the knees are nowhere near the floor, pop some underneath it, because having something again just to rest against, you will naturally start to open up around your hips and groin. So taking time, really do take the time to set yourself up so that you can be most comfortable, so that you're not clenching and tensing, because we don't want to undo the work that we've done. And stretch up through the crown of the head. In fact, just get hold of your tops of your ears, lift up, and you'll notice you naturally kind of lift up a little bit, otherwise you'll pull on your ears, and then relax the arms. So gently drawing the belly button in slightly, so we don't want to end up slouching, but we don't want to be tight and tense either. Now we're going to imagine you've got a pencil or a crayon on the top of your head, crown of your head, and you're going to start to draw little circles on the ceiling with that pencil. And maybe go slower than you would normally. And just again exploring. Now you often, when we do the neck, you often hear some kind of crunchy sounds, as long as there's no discomfort. Just check that you're not clenching your jaw. So relaxing your jaw. 4 deep breaths in. And 4 breaths out. And changing direction again, super slow. And let go of any expectations, let go of any, oh, it should be like X, Y, Z, or it should feel X, Y, Z. Again, just really get curious. So does it feel the same in this direction, for example? If you were to imagine the circle, would it be a smooth circle? Or would there be any points of the circle where it's a little bit kind of crunchy? And change direction and maybe see if you can draw a little bit bigger circle. Again, eyes closed. Once you know what you're doing, close your eyes so you can really feel into it. And changing direction, round the other way. And imagine your neck, your spine, as something nice and flexible and mobile, as if you popped a little WD-40 along your spine. And then bringing the head back to center, maybe a little kind of side to side movement. And bring the head back up and imagine moving your rib cage side to side. And again, try not to overthink it. So when we overthink it, we think, oh God, I don't know if I'm doing it right, or blah, 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 blah. Just literally imagine, you can imagine your rib cage moving from one side to the other. Just breathing in. And breathing out. And imagine moving your rib cage forward and back a little bit. So bringing it forward, taking it back. So it's almost a very subtle cat flex. So again, they're not massive movements. So you can imagine just literally your rib cage coming forward, coming back. Imagine seeing if you can circle your rib cage around, or imagine you're circling it around. Again, once you kind of know what you're doing, or see if you can keep your eyes closed rather than looking at me. Keep your eyes closed and trust that you will do what's right for you. So your own interpretation, your own variation, one that is perfect for you. And then see if you can go round the other way. Because so often, you know, like when we look at other people, we start, oh, I don't like they're doing, and I'm doing it wrong, and I'm stupid, and blah, 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 blah. Rather than just simply trusting our body knows what it needs. Our body always knows what it needs. And come back to center, and then just gently leaning forward and back, almost like you're swaying forward and back. So your legs, etc. will move. This is where you might realize that you do need blocks under your knees, under your knees or thighs. And circling the whole upper body around. And yes, your legs will move. If you do open your eyes, you'll notice that my lower body moves, and I'm not trying to keep it still. It's all good. And round the other way. So again, trust that there is no right or wrong way. There's only the way that feels good for you today. And coming back to center. And then alternating, shrugging and releasing the shoulders. Inhale up, exhale drop. So try and sit up nice and tall through the crown of the head. With both shoulders, hold, squeeze. And release. And inhale, lengthen up through the crown of the head. Exhale, take a little twist. So just bring the hand on or towards the opposite knee. Lift and lengthen. Visualize your sit bones. Visualize grounding through your sit bones. Try and gently press the knees out so we're not tensing through the knee. And imagine slightly turning your belly, turning your chest, turning your shoulders, and turning your head to look over your back shoulder. And keep lengthening from your tailbone up and out of the crown of your head. So visualize the whole body from the inside out. So from the spine, the muscles alongside the spine, the ribs, the skin of your outer body, your shoulders, your head. And unwind, head, shoulders, coming all the way back. And inhale, lengthening up. Exhale, turning. Go nice and slowly. And use your hand to draw the upper body around, but gently press the knees out. Keep lifting up out of the waist, looking over that back shoulder. Relaxing your jaw. And unwinding, coming back. And we're going to bring, if your legs are in cross-legged, switch so the other foot is in front. If you're in kind of lotus variation, whatever, again try and switch or come into a sukhasana, crossing at the shins rather than the ankles. And we're going to lift up and we're going to twist around to the right. So you're going to start off by taking your right hand to the outside of your left ribs, or the left side of your rib cage. You're going to inhale, lengthen up. As you exhale, start to draw your rib cage around, and then once you've kind of turned as far as you can, release that right hand to the floor behind you. Then on the next in-breath, reach that left arm up. Start to turn a little bit more, and then take that hand to the outside of the opposite knee, either palm facing in or palm facing away. I quite like palm facing away sometimes, then I can spread out my fingers and press into that knee to look and lift a little bit further. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Keeping the rest of the body as it is. Breathe in. As you breathe out, slowly turn your head to look over your left shoulder. Relax the knees, press the knees away from each other, down towards the floor. And then keeping your head turning left, try and turn your eyes and look to the right as far as you can. So you see the side of your nose, so you're stretching out the spine, stretching out the neck, stretching out the eyes, work the eye muscles. And release the eyes, release the head, unwind, come back to center. Just take a second, noticing how that side of the body feels. And we do the same on the other side. So we're going to take the left hand to the outside of the right rib. We're going to inhale, lift up out of the waist, and then turn. So bring your rib cage around. And then when you've gone as far as you can, bring that left hand to the floor behind you. Inhale, lift and lengthen, reaching up with the right hand. And then take that right hand to the outside of the right knee. So the whole idea is that you will twist a little bit further, a little bit further. It's not a case of, oh, you get here and that's it. You want to go a little bit further, but without tensing the shoulders. Again, press the knees away from each other. Breathe in. As you breathe out, slowly start to turn your head to look the other way. You're looking over the front shoulder. There, breathe in, and as you breathe out, turn your eyes to try and look over your left shoulder. So feel those eye muscles working. There, release, unwind your head, unwind your arms, come back. Draw the knees in, wrap your arms around your knees and kind of like hug the knees together. And let your head relax down. And gently release, unfurl. Come off the block if you're on one. Stretch your legs out. I'm just going to like rest on your hands, but lifting your chest, and just kind of like windscreen wipering your legs, feet, and turning from your thigh. So you turn the whole leg, not just the foot. And opposites, out and across, out and across. And then shaking out the feet. Imagine they're like jelly. Shake those feet out. Check out the calf muscles, the knee joints, the thighs. And back them up and down. Then keeping the hands behind you, bend your knees and have your feet so they're at least mat width apart. I see so many people say, even though I say mat width, I see so many people do this so that when they turn the knees, the leg hits the other leg. You want your feet wide enough so that when you turn your legs, they're not touching. So if you think they're wide enough, take them a little bit wider. Lift up through the heart so we're not collapsing into the back. Breathe in. As you breathe out, just drop one knee. Imagine dropping it in, pressing it down towards the floor. So we're rotating the thigh bone in the hip socket. Inhale, bring it back. Don't worry if it doesn't quite touch the floor. So again, if your knee is touching the other knee, you need to take the feet wider, 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 wider. So there's plenty of space between. So notice my knee is not touching my foot. It's nowhere near my foot. Again, don't worry if the knee doesn't touch all the way to the floor. Just rotate it in, pausing for a second. And when that feels okay to do, drop one knee and then let the other knee press down towards the floor. Then reverse it, bring one knee up, bring the other knee up. And exhale, dropping one knee towards the floor and then pressing the other knee, lift and open through your chest, then reverse, bring that outside knee, then bring the other knee. And you may need to adjust your hands because I tend to find I kind of like slide away. Opening out through the hips, which is an area we tend to often hold a lot of emotional tension. This time you're going to try and take both knees and then see if you can start to turn and bring the arm up. So the other hand is behind you. I often see people kind of try and do this. So you're turning. As you turn, you bring the back hand away. So you turn to the right, left arm lifts, then we reverse, coming back. So again, as you turn the knees to the left, that opposite hand will naturally start to lift off the floor because you're putting more pressure on the back hand. So the correct hand to lift will naturally start moving away. So you're turning the side edge of the mat now instead of facing the front, and you're reaching that arm up, engage those legs, relax the shoulders, and then coming back. So again, take your time. So I'll do it the other way, kind of away from you. Bring the knees up as you turn, as you drop the knee, as you turn, so you naturally start to lift that other hand away from the floor. Pausing for a second and then coming back. So again, really take your time, no rush, drop the knees. So as you drop the knees again, you're starting to turn the body. So you're turning the body to the side of the mat. So we're adding a twist and then we're adding the arm. So as you come through, you're facing forward, you're facing the long edge of the mat. As you drop the knees, you're starting to turn and facing the short edge of the mat. And then reversing it to come back. So you can take your time so that your mind and body can work together. Often people try to rush through these kind of things. And then come back to center. Keeping the feet wide, flex your feet and try and bring your elbows inside. If you can't quite bring your elbows to the floor, then hands to the floor and imagine pressing your elbows to the floor for that stretch in the inner thighs. Breathe in. As you breathe out, push through the right heel. So really push that heel away. And then as you inhale, drag it in. So feel the resistance. So really drag it. Feel your inner thigh muscles working. Exhale, push the other leg away. And as you do that, you might find you stretch a little bit further. And inhale, drag it in. So exhale, push through the heel, pressing the back of the knee into the mat. Inhale, drag it in. Again, you might start to feel it's more of a stretch in the upper body. Exhale, push that heel away. Get strong flex in the foot because you're actively pushing. You're not just straightening the leg, you're pushing, then you're really dragging it in. Feel the inner thigh muscles working. Exhale, push. Inhale, drag it in. Exhale, push away. Inhale, drag it in. Then see if you can press both heels away. Push the heels away. Inhale, drag them in towards you. Exhale, press, push them away. Inhale, drag them in again. Each time you might find you can stretch a little bit further. So we're actively stretching. We're not just being passive like straightening the legs. We're pushing through the heels, pulling the toes towards you. And then we're really engaging the inner thighs as we bring the feet in. And gently release. Come up. Bring the legs in. Shake them out a little bit. Shake them, bounce them. And come back into your Shavasana, whether that is with feet flat or legs out, arms out. Pop a cushion or blanket under your head if needed. And allow your eyes to close. Notice the contact between your eyelids. So notice the contact as your upper eyelids gently meet your lower eyelids. Get a sense of your eyeballs resting in the eye sockets. Get a sense of relaxing your whole head, your whole skull, even relaxing your brain. You feel the contact between your head and the floor. And allow your head to be supported. Allow your shoulders to melt down into the floor. And get a sense of your shoulder blades sliding down towards the back of your heart space. Notice your rib cage as it expands on the in-breath, relaxes on the out-breath. So like a kind of basket expanding fully in all directions and relaxing as you breathe out. And kind of take a moment to focus on that sense of expansion and contraction. That sense of receiving and releasing. Sense of lightness, fullness, a sense of emptiness, of letting go. And that's something that us humans struggle with sometimes, the concept of letting go. You know, we cling on to things, whether that's relationships, friendships, things, people, places, events. We cling on to past trauma, you know, we cling on to grudges, you know, well, they did this to me, blah, 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 blah. And we hang on to things, you know, hoarding is an extreme example of hanging on to things. And that often comes from a state of lack. And I know I'm guilty of that. I've been guilty of that in the past. That's something I'm working on. You know, we struggle to let go of things because there's a part of us that worries there won't be anything to take its place. And that's often why we hold on to jobs or relationships that no longer fulfill us, because we fear that there'll be nothing to take its place. We fear, you know, a sense of emptiness. But here's the thing, nature abhors a vacuum. Nature will rush to fill a space. If you imagine, and this is a good example actually, it's just come to me, I used to have rabbits that run around my garden, because my garden is concrete slabs. It's always been since I moved in. I have plants in pots. But I had rabbits who had the full run of the garden. And I never realised how many weeds grew in the garden between the slabs, because obviously the rabbits are eating them. And so of course now they're not eating them, so I have to weed them. And I swear, sometimes I weed them and pull it all up, and I swear the next morning they're back again. Because no sooner have I finished, you know, weeding them, than they start to grow again. Because nature will always fill the space. You try and chop a tree down, if it's still alive, it will produce shoots. So it will fill that space. If you make a hole, if you like, water will rush in and fill it. So what I'm trying to get at is, when we do let go of the things that are no longer exciting us, serving us, supporting us, nourishing us, there will be something that comes to take its place. There may be a slight gap in between, but there will, you know, we don't need to worry that there's not enough, that there won't be something to fill that space. And that's another reason why I often encourage people to focus on that sense of letting go, that sense of emptiness. Because when we focus on the sense of emptiness, we know that the next breath is coming. We know that when we breathe all the way out, we can hold the breath for a few seconds. We know that we can take a breath in. We don't think, oh my God, I've just let the breath go. Oh my God, there's not going to be any air to come in. We know that as soon as we need to, whether that's within a couple of seconds or whether we can hold our breath longer, we know that there is another breath that we can take. We don't worry about running out of air. We don't think, oh my God, I can't take a breath because then someone else won't have any, or if I get rid of this breath, there won't be another one. So learning to let go of the breath, learning to embrace that sense of emptiness, trusting that the next breath will be there for us. There is so much oxygen in the room that you're in. There is so much oxygen in your body. And we know and trust that we can pause, we can let that breath go completely. We can squeeze as much out as possible, because we can trust that we can take another breath in. And when we start doing that, when we start realizing that anything we let go, we're never bereft, we are never left without. There will always be something to take its place. And once we let go of that which no longer serves us, often something even better or even more appropriate for this time in our life will come in. And I've done it as well. I've stayed in relationships too long for fear of, you know, being on my own. And I no longer would do that. I'd rather be unhappy. I'd rather be on my own than unhappy in a relationship, because I know and trust that letting go of that which no longer serves me is also not just for me, it's for the other person as well. And it's like, if we're worried about letting go of something because we feel like, oh, we feel ungrateful, know that someone else will appreciate that more. Someone else is out there who it's perfect for. Who is, as I say, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So if you worry about letting something go, throwing it away, there'll be someone else who comes along and is like, oh, that's just what I want right now. And that is life. That is life. Letting go, letting in, letting go, letting in. Just like the waves. The waves go in, they go out. They go in, they go out. Earth doesn't think, oh my God, the waves have gone out, it's not going to come back in again. It trusts that the waves are then going to come back in. And so when we focus on that sense of giving and receiving, of taking in, of letting go, we can also trust that in life we are always supported. And that's one thing I've really learned over the last few years, when I've been times when I've been terrified over the last few years in a way I've never had before. I've always been supported in some way or another, you know, and it's hard to kind of let go and think, okay, and trust. But once you do discover that you will always be, if you fully trust, you are always supported in one way or another. So you can trust right now that the ground is supporting you. You don't have to worry about falling. You are supported by the earth, by the ground. You don't have to worry that there's no oxygen there. You know there's another breath for you to take. You know there's enough food in this world that you'll never go hungry. There's enough shelter that you will never be cold, you'll never be out in the cold. It's just the fear, the ego, that tells us there's not enough. So when we can learn to let go of the breath, we can learn to trust that in life too, we will always receive, so that we can let go and trust that we will receive again. So notice how that feels in your body, knowing that you are always provided for, you are always supported, no matter what. Notice how it feels in your being, in your body. Breathe it in. And when you're ready, start to stretch yourself out again, bringing some movement back into the body. Moving in whatever way works for you. Slowly, mindfully, bringing yourself back up. When you get there, bringing your palms together, your hands to your heart. Take a little bow to seal your practice. Namaste. Enjoy the rest of your day. If you have any questions, any comments, any feedback, any requests, anything at all, please let me know. Well, so much love to you, and it's going to be really weird because I'm doing this on the front camera, which I've discovered is a lot better, but of course I can't see myself, so I'm just hoping that it all works out. So thank you.